So hello, Illumineers. We are joined by Yor, who is from the Netherlands and is a amazing game designer, as well as Lee, who is the host of Uncommon Cardboard and part of the Glimmer Gang. So we are so excited to have them join us today. We are going to be talking about songs and lyric cards and the potentiality for it to impact the Lorcana game and how it might change up some space on the playmat. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in.
So I think the first thing when my wife showed me something about Lorcana, I think the first thing I thought about was song cards, because like songs are such a big thing in Disney movies, I think. So
Yeah.
I definitely think it's a big opportunity for them to utilize those in the card game.
I was gonna say I completely agree with that. When I first saw Lorcana, I immediately thought, okay, we're probably going to see cards in some form or another, because with Disney, with especially some of their songs, they're almost characters unto themselves. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm honestly a little surprised that we haven't seen an actual maybe song or lyric card if it is part of the mechanics early, but maybe that Hakuna Matata hint a couple weeks ago was that, like you said, like these Disney songs are kind of their own characters, and I think when everyone thinks of like a Disney movie, someone like automatically starts singing the song from the movie. Like it's just part of how you talk about Disney, and so it just seems like this is kind of like just a given mechanic that's going to be coming. So it'll be fun to see what actually happens and when it's talked about and released. Yeah, it seems like too, Yor and some of these song cards that you kind of knocked up when we start talking about them, like it seems your version or your vision of this mechanic is something attuned to like the Pokemon trainer or support cards, where it like changes the playmat and the game board for everyone, where it's like a universal change for everyone, which could really change the gameplay, and then could really throw off your opponent if you're like tagging with some like high heavy hitters like maybe Hades or whatnot. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how these are integrated into the mechanics.
Yeah, for me, I think like there's one person, I don't know his name. You guys probably do. He's theorizing every day about a new mechanic.
Is that Mark Victory?
Mark, I think it's Mark. Yeah, I think it was him or maybe someone else. They said, I think it was him. He said like there shouldn't be too many cards that have like conditions or events that are triggered with other cards being targeted, because if you have 5 of those types of cards, then it can be really complex, like which one goes first and stuff. So when I thought about song cards, then I thought, okay, they should be something like item cards, but you shouldn't have too many song cards laying around if they mess around with like the mechanics of the game, because it might get too complex. So I thought, when I thought of that, like I thought maybe it's cool if there's only one card for both players or for all players maybe on the board. So like, because you can't sing 2 songs at the same time, you can only sing one song.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so one person plays a song, and then if another player plays a song, he plays it on top of that song. The original song is discarded. And then maybe there are also item or character cards that you can exert to stop playing a song, or to play a song for less ink or something. But I think like having only one song being active at one point, it makes it really easy to understand. And also, yeah, it makes sense. You can only have one song playing at the same time.
I wonder too if like, because there's a ton of Disney songs that are like duels, right? So like they're pinging back and forth. So if like a character card maybe has an option to like add one more song on top of it just for that turn or something.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a lot of songs that like you play back and forth to each other and you talk to each other, so that could be interesting too.
Yeah, I'd like that. I would like to see some interaction between the characters themselves, especially the ones maybe not franchise based, but like the ones that are actually involved in the songs. Like for like Hakuna Matata, you'd have Timon, Pumbaa, and Simba being able to interact with that on a higher level than the rest of the characters out there.
I kind of talked about a couple weeks ago, like thinking about if potentially there are also landmark cards, maybe similar to Magic the Gathering, but maybe not, where you like gather a different resource or whatever. So could be interesting to see if that plays into like songs too. whether like if you're location based or need to travel or to a new location to gather lore, and if a song could impact a specific location, because some of the Disney songs are only like are very pertinent to the location they're sung in, and they're impacted by the scene and the environment that's happening.
I was gonna kind of wait to see if we had the same one. I was automatically thinking maybe because the trailer just came out, but the Little Mermaid, part of your world, yes, she's got to be underwater for that to make sense, you know?
Absolutely. So yeah, like I feel like there's so many layers to these song cards that could be really interesting to see how they all break down to each other for sure. I'm a huge Lion King fan. I'm really waiting for that Simba steal to drop, so I was a little disappointed at Gantu. But I saw this Be Prepared lyric card from the Lion King, and the mechanic that you put on it was all characters spawn with haste, so you maybe don't necessarily need to have that pocket watch in your deck, and they can attack and quest on the same turn they are played, which is a huge game changer if you happen to have this card. So maybe the card rarity is like high up there, but it could be fun to see. Like I would totally want this card in my deck just to like not have to pay for that pocket watch, depending on how much lyric cards get, spend to play. But I would be a big fan of having this Be Prepared card in my deck for sure.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I do like the feel of that card for sure, and it would definitely be a bomb. Like if you pulled that in sealed, it would be a bomb. You know, it's gonna like if that were to be a card, that's gonna be one of the higher end. Like lots of people are gonna look for that one. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, for sure. That could change the game very quickly.
This list you have, these are great. You did a great job.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, the Be Prepared card. All characters gain rush. Yes, our teeth and ambitions are bared. Like that is the perfect line, the lyric from that song. Like,
oh my gosh,
my ambitions are bared because I'm like, boom, like rush all my cards. Yeah.
For every song, I just Googled the lyrics and read through all of them and looked like which one makes most sense. And like always, I get to a line, I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah. That was perfect for that one for sure.
Yeah.
These are great. I love the art you chose for them. All of these are. Honestly, I'd be hard pressed to think that these wouldn't have automatically been made by Lorcana. Like, I feel like once this video comes out, they're gonna look at these and be like, "Do they have a camera somewhere?" I love this other one you've got here, the "Can't Wait to Be King," because that's one of my favorite Disney songs. The art you picked for it, the quote you picked for it, and its ability and its color, brilliant. I love it.
Nice.
And I love cards that do mechanics matter or creature types matter. I really, really enjoy that type.
Yeah, I'm working on my roar.
Yeah.
It's really good, dude. That was sad. Oh.
It's perfect. I think too your interpretation of the Hakuna Matata release from I think it was last week. Whenever a character receives damage, it receives one less. Like that's totally like vibing with problem-free philosophy, you know?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fits in that blue. Fits in the blue color really well too. Honestly.
Yeah, I tried to I made I think 2 cards for each color. I tried to distribute them evenly, but in the end they all made sense. I also think for Hakuna Matata, I came up with the idea and I've written them down in the document, and then later in Discord I saw other people speculating the exact same rule for it.
Oh, so interesting.
That was kind of fun to see as well. Yeah. So.
I know a lot of people were speculating this card to be Amber, but it'll be interesting to see what actually drops.
Did you guys also notice the background of the Hakuna Matata art having the
elephant graveyard?
Yeah, elephant graveyard in the desert. Yeah. It took a while for me to see those, but
that is very interesting because you never see those 2 scenes mesh in the movie. So it's interesting in the art that they are bringing those 2 scenes together when they're very stark in contrast in the movie, like the dry desert versus the jungle. So interesting what story they're telling with that art piece for sure. And that it's the child Simba, right? Because in the scene in the movie and that log, you see Simba going from young Simba to adult Simba. So the fact that they chose young Simba in this art piece for Hakuna Matata is, I think they're also telling us something there. I don't know what it is yet, but that was interesting to me too, because we've seen adult Simba, not the fully released card, but in the art piece, and this is the first time we're seeing young Simba. So
yeah, we could expect seeing young Simba shift into the older Simba maybe. But then again, I think the Simba we see on the starter deck isn't shift, because you have one shift character and one not the normal character. So
yeah,
we don't know.
I'm looking at this other card here, the Hercules 0 to hero one. All characters are considered heroes. So if you combat this with I think the current Hades Floodborn is a villain, if I remember correctly. So if you throw this on top of Hades, I wonder how this could potentially change the gameplay, or the game board in general. Like, if you have another card mechanic with villains to heroes, but your opponent only has villains, and you throw this on top, and now you're like, it would just be interesting to see how it would totally like change the round. So I'm intrigued by that one for sure.
Nice, yeah, for sure. And also for yourself, if you have a bunch of a bunch of villain cards and hero cards, and you also have these like passive buffs for your heroes, then this song is an excellent card to buff all your characters that way.
My other one that really I really enjoy out of these is Colors of the Wind. A lot of that reason is because Pocahontas is one of my favorite Disney movies. And then you have it, all cards can be played using any ink color. I love that. I really do, because in my prevailing theory, and some others in the community, we feel that there will be specific colored inks. I know it's kind of been shown that there's going to be inks and that there will probably be colored inks, but that's not guaranteed. I'm in the camp that we'll have colored inks, much in the same way that there are different energy types, there are different land types in Magic the Gathering, and allowing us to, and essentially the way it's worded is it's both players at that point, because it's like the global effect. You can play cards using any ink color. That's really cool, because you could potentially navigate around a resource, like being negative in resources. Absolutely. Being low on resources, you could navigate around that really well. Say you've only been dropping your ruby inks in the game, or pulling your ruby inks, however it works, and your other colors say emerald. You didn't pull any of your emerald stuff, but you have Cruella de Vil sitting in your hand. This is a really brilliant way to get around that, and I really like it. And the quote is beautiful, and Colors of the Wind is an amazing song, so it's perfect. It's so good.
This Pinocchio card you have, because I don't think we've seen any Pinocchio art yet. So items are characters with 1/1. That is so fun to me, because if you are like an item person and like you want to stack your deck with a ton of items to like throw things off or whatever, and so that could be a super fun throwdown. It's only 1/1, right? Because then Gantu could like totally throw it off. That was just released, but that could be a fun play.
Yeah, and also I think it would be a great way to get rid of your opponent's cards or opponent's items. Yep. Because if they have like a very item focused deck, and they already have 5 items out, and you need like an easy way to get rid of those.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. But also, like you said, I didn't even think of that you could have like 6 items laying, and then you play this song, and then they already have haste, I guess.
Yeah. And then could be interesting.
You can get rid of all your other characters, your opponent's characters.
Yep.
This card feels really reminiscent of a lot of things you can do in Magic the Gathering, especially in blue in that game as well. It's a very blue set. Artifacts are very centered in blue in Magic the Gathering, and artifacts are that game's items. You can also have artifact creatures, which in this game I would love to see Pinocchio being an item character. I think that would be really cool.
His puppet form.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And with this card, this definitely gives me lots of feels of blue and a little bit of white in Magic, whereas you stack your own deck with really fast, efficient items, and then you drop this, and you're like, you swing. I'm going to swing for the win, and you didn't see it coming,
Yep.
I like that idea.
Gosh, this makes me just want to get the rules and start playing now.
I know, right?
Everything does.
These are just so good.
I thought Hellfire was a difficult one for me to do, because it's such an adult movie, I think.
It really is.
Yeah, The Hunchback. It's such an adult movie, and in this adult movie, this is such an adult song, I think.
It's real dark.
It's really dark, yeah. And the older you get, the more you understand, like
seriously
how serious it is, and how much it touches, how much it covers. So also for the quote for like the flavor text part of it, there was obviously this part in the song. It's like, "Be mine or you will burn," and I thought, okay, but this is gonna be a kids game also.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, it's not my fault. I'm not to blame. It's still dark in the adult tense, but kids will take their version from it, and they will still be able to go to sleep at night.
For sure. I'm just super excited to see those gargoyles on cards from the movie.
Oh my god, I forgot about the gargoyles, man. Oh my gosh, they're so great. They're so great.
The best.
Oh my gosh.
Those are really good.
I need those guys for sure.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So you went when you did the Mine. That song right there also is got some really dark undertones, you know what I mean? Like, and like you said, the older I get, the more I realize that, wow, they really had some slightly adult themes in some of these movies that we really just couldn't get when we were kids, you know?
Very much, yeah. There's like a lot of criticism in there.
It's true. I was gonna say, and I know there's a lot of people out there speculating that some of these more troubled Disney titles may not see as much inclusion in the game for some of their sensitive topics and not great representation, stuff like that. I also think that they're going to take everything out of those titles and leave as much of the negativity and misunderstanding and stuff on the side. Like, I guarantee, I'm going to put money on this one. Pocahontas will be a card. She will be a card. Grandmother Willow, Miko, Flick, they'll all be cards in some aspects. I would venture to say that I don't know that John Smith or I don't remember even the governor's name, but Ratcliffe.
His name is. Yeah, sounds
something like
about
that.
right.
Something like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were omitted completely.
Yeah, I mean, I would be in favor of that, to be honest, especially since like they paint John in a very light turn in this movie, and that is very historically inaccurate, and so I'll just leave it at that.
Exactly. Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. And a big reason that I lean towards the camp that we'll see Pocahontas in them is a lot of people are like, well, they haven't really touched that franchise in a long time. And the one example that I've given them is Wreck-It Ralph 2. Ralph Breaks the Internet. She's in the princess room with all the other princesses. So, I think that they are comfortable enough with using, at the very least, Pocahontas herself and trying to exemplify how she was trying to, in that story, she should have been the hero of the story. Absolutely. Like, and where the light gets shed on, like, oh, John Smith is like kind of the hero, and it's not. It should have been Pocahontas 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think like the fact that Pocahontas is still very much like a Disney doll, and like I don't see why they would cut her out. Like, she's an amazing princess. She is like just the song she sings, like it would be surprising to me if they would cut that whole movie for sure. Right.
I agree completely. Okay, and I'm gonna admit 100% right here that I don't recognize Fixer Upper.
What you don't know from what movie it's from?
I don't know what movie it's from. No, I'll admit that. I might get flamed for this one.
Can you guess?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Are they from Frozen?
Yes.
They are from Frozen.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay.
I was actually just going to bring up Frozen because Frozen is another movie that touches on like indigenous tribes and people groups and indigenous cultures. And they spin it in a very different way. But Frozen 2 was dark, and I was very surprised by that. I don't know if you've seen Frozen 2, but...
Yeah, for sure.
I have not.
It basically... No spoilers here if you're going to watch it, but basically... the king marries the queen, and the queen is indigenous, and that's where Elsa gets her powers from. And so they talk a lot about like the land struggle and conflict, and I won't go into it if you're going to watch it, but so it's just another one of those movies.
I was going to say that right there will get me to watch it completely. I like that. That's a cool storyline.
Yeah, you should watch it. So, yeah. And Into the Unknown, the other lyric card you have here, kind of plays to that as well. And how she finds out who she is and stuff. So
Yeah, for me that one, the like the rules of that card. Whenever a player gains lore, they gain one more. That fits really well with the title and everything the song is about. I think.
Absolutely. And that's a very powerful card too. So
yeah, for sure. It's like, I think like, what is Ruby? I think it's about like it's an aggro deck, right? People think that, or is there a different color that's the aggro deck? Because aggro, it means like going for the win fast, right?
Right.
I would agree that I'm leaning towards Ruby being the most aggressive of the colors. I've also noticed that a fair amount of these colors are going to have sub themes that tie into the other colors, and I would assume that is to make deck building a little bit easier, so you can have a clearer path. If you say I want to use these two colors, this is the clearest path that I have.
Yep.
But I would venture to say that Ruby is our default aggro color, much like I think amethyst right, is our control color.
Yeah, I like
this Let It Go card scares me. I'm just gonna put that out there right
now. yeah. I thought about like in the story, see let's go of our powers, and they come to her more easily. So let the storm rage on. Let's go.
Yeah.
I could have written down the cold doesn't bother me anyway, but it felt too cliche. So
that's everyone's line, right?
Yeah.
Let the storm rage on was a good one.
Yeah, so I thought like one character goes, another character can come in because it's the circle of life.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course,
if you couple that with Corella too, like Emerald
Steel,
no,
it becomes real nuts with Corella. That's immediately what I thought of when I saw that.
Big chain reactions.
Yeah. Emerald Steel deck come in.
Emerald Steel confirmed. Let's do it.
Yeah, and of course for the flavor you have to go with the first line of the song. Everybody will just shout their own interpretation and version of that line.
It's so funny that I giggled a little bit when I saw that. I was like, oh, I can't wait to just hear everybody just making noises into the ether, you know?
Yeah.
Be our guest. All characters cost one less.
Try the soup.
Try the bread. Try the soup.
Oh, it's so good. That could be a really fun card. All these are really, really fun ideas. I like them a lot. And I think that as long as we get songs in there at least similar enough to this, I think that we're going to all be very, very happy.
Yor, you did a great job with these.
Awesome.
Bravo,
thanks.
sir. Bravo.
Cool.
Spring is closer every day.
Yep.
It's very true. How do you think people would react to this announcement and like integrating this new mechanic in? Like, do you think the community would be super hype? I mean, I think so, but like just interested to see your thoughts on like how people will react.
I think that people will be receptive to them. I really do, because the songs, especially in a lot of these movies, because they're songs, you remember them word for word. You hear the tune come on and you're like, oh, the nostalgia. I can feel it in me, you know? So I think for the most part, we'll have a lot of positive reception. That also does hinge on what type of card it is. You know, is it going to ultimately be these global effects that we're talking about? Is it going to be one-sided? Like you can each player can have a song, and at that point you're like dueling songs back and forth.
That
you know what I mean?
Be fun. Yeah.
It also depends on if we're going to be able to play more than one song at once, which you bringing up that you can't sing more than one song at once, I don't think we will be, and I don't think it'll feel flavor-wise very good if we can.
Yeah.
But there are going to be the negative Nancys out there. You know, there are going to be people. There are going to be people that are just, oh well, I don't think they're good for this reason or that reason. And truthfully, if they do get announced as a card option, we really won't know their effect until we play, until we all get on Tabletop Simulator or over webcam with proxies and start nailing these games out. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Me too.
Yeah. I think some people are in Lorcana also coming from maybe Magic the Gathering or other those type of games like TCGs, and being really competitive and aren't necessarily into Disney as much. And obviously like song cards are really associated with Disney, so it might not spark their interest as much. I think a bunch of people have a favorite Disney song and they're just going to be opening booster packs until they get their favorite Disney song out of that.
Sure.
Like,
I do wonder too if these, like, just speculating, promo cards, and I know Lorcana has announced that they won't release any promo cards that will be extra mechanics that you can't get in boosters, which I really appreciate, but that doesn't put off the table of all art, right? So it would be cool to see like a full like card, alt art of some lyrics integrated with the character, some like hollow lyric typography on there.
I like that.
That would be so beautiful to highlight the like lyric of what's being played with this, you know, full art card.
So you look at the card from a certain angle and you can see the lyrics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that could be really cool.
It'd be fun for sure. Well, thank you, Lee and Yor, for joining us today. This conversation has been amazing, and I can't wait for these cards to come out. Hint, hint, Ravensburger. So thank you all so much for joining, and hope to talk to you again soon.